is Monica with Run, Eat, Repeat, and I have a huge announcement. I just registered to run the Dopey challenge and want to go over what it is for anyone that doesn't already know and kind of talk about the first steps that I need to do to get ready for the challenge. And I'm going to be documenting all of it on Run, Eat, Repeat and here. So I'm really excited because I started Run, Eat, Repeat 10 years ago to lose weight and run one marathon. Cross those things off the list. Over 30 marathons later, I feel like it's kind of getting back to basics with documenting my training for anyone that wants to follow along. Hopefully it can be a helpful resource, but back to basics, like there is nothing basic about this challenge. Let's talk about it. So if you're not familiar, very, very quickly, Run Disney 101. Run Disney is the organization that puts on all of the running events for Disney World and formerly Disneyland. All the Disneyland events are on hold. They have been for a couple years now, which sucks because I live in Southern California. I am fairly close to Anaheim. I love a costume race. I think it's a great time. I wouldn't necessarily feel the need to go all the way across the country to run a race at Disney World. I have before. I've actually done the Disney World Marathon and the Wine and Dine Half Marathon. So I feel like I have had that experience. It's been awesome, but it's a lot in terms of the races are pretty pricey, travel, time, the whole drill. But it doesn't look like the Disney races are coming back anytime soon. I have wanted so desperately in-person races. I've missed racing this last year. And so when the Run Disney organization announced that they are planning in-person events again, registration is going to be open for Wine and Dine, which is November, and for the Disney World Marathon weekend, which is in January, I started to kind of consider it. Wine and Dine Half Marathon was out because I have another race that weekend, but I started to kind of think about doing the Disney World Marathon. And if I'm going to go all that way, and like I said, pay the money to register, to travel, all of the things, why not go big and do the Dopey challenge, which is their huge challenge event of the weekend. So they call it the Walt Disney World Marathon weekend. I think it originally just started with the marathon and then they started adding races. So now they have a 5K on Thursday, a 10K on Friday, a half marathon on Saturday, and a full marathon on Sunday. There is each of those individual 4 races, and you can do the Goofy race and a half, which is to run both the half marathon and the full marathon, and then the Dopey challenge, which is to run all 4 of these races. And again, these are consecutive days, so these are back to back. And because it is at Disney World, so you're running in and around the theme parks, you start really early because the park's still open to the public at their normal operating times, or maybe it's like pushed back a little bit, but basically they need to get all of the runners the heck out of the parks. So the races start very early, and a lot of people, when I posted this on Instagram, at Run, Eat, Repeat, follow, chimed in that have done it and said, it's the early wake up time that is really killer, which is gonna be extra wild because I am on Pacific time. So it's that I'm gonna feel like I didn't even go to sleep. Like maybe I should just stay up. But I kept going back and forth on whether or not to even sign up, literally wrote a pros and cons list and decided to just go for it. And I'm really excited. I don't yet have buyer's remorse or runner's remorse yet, but I haven't even started training, which is why I wanted to make this video, because I think because of last year's up in the airness, canceled events, the Run Disney organization kind of put off opening registration for people until they kind of knew for sure these events are going to be in person, because they did have to cancel things last year. A lot of races had to. So registration opened and I realized that it is only about 20 weeks away, which you can train for a marathon in 20 weeks. Most of the time, training plans are between 20 and 16 weeks, depending on how much fitness you already have, like how much experience you have, what your goal is, what your current fitness is, how challenging the race might be. So there is an extra element of challenge when you are doing consecutive races like this challenge. So it really is kind of the bare minimum amount of time that I could have to train. I am an RCA certified running coach. I'm also a holistic health coach. So I can design a running training plan and meal plan for myself. Like, that is not the issue. I just also need to work out the realities of the timeline after a year of no races in person and other races that I've already registered for that I still plan on doing, which I'll incorporate as training runs. And actually, if you are interested in running this challenge or one of the Run Disney races, some of them are not sold out yet, which is wild. They sell out so quickly normally. I know that Wine and Dine, which is coming up first, that's in November, the half marathon and the challenge for that race, which is the 10K and the half, not sold out yet. The Disney World Marathon and the Dopey challenge is not sold out. Everything else is sold out. But normally these things sell out very quickly. It might be in part because people weren't running as much, weren't racing as much, so kind of got out of running and racing shape over the last year, and you can take advantage if you're interested, but it's getting close. To do that, I highly suggest that you jump on it and make sure that you have a training plan good to go, because 20 weeks away, again, it's good for training for a full marathon, but if you were doing the challenge or anything else on top of that, you're gonna need extra time to make sure you're in tip-top. It should never be like a march to your death. You wanna make sure that you are enjoying it, so you wanna be in shape enough to enjoy it. A solid training plan is definitely number one on my list that I'm gonna be working on first. And then, of course, a nutrition plan to make sure that I am staying healthy and strong and fueling my body. And number three is probably the hotel, and then the flight would be number four in that order. Like I said, I've heard that things sell out quickly, so I wanna make sure and get on it, at least get a good look. You don't have to stay at a Disney property hotel, but you wanna stay local because, like I said, it's a very, very early start time. And the fifth thing on my to-do list to just get ready to even get ready are costumes. I am going to get to wear 4 different running costumes. Like I said, I've run 2 so far of the Disney World races. So I've done the Walt Disney World full marathon and the Wine and Dine. And I have done several of the races at Disneyland. And then there's always like other costume races around. I love a costume race, so I am very much looking forward to an excuse to put together a couple of different fun costumes. And that's not at all the most urgent thing, but it's probably the most fun thing. So if you have any ideas, inspiration, feel free to share it all with me, because I'm going to be sharing all of the training with you. So make sure that you are following along, like and subscribe this video. Let me know if you have any questions. I am putting more info on Run Eat Repeat, put a lot of links to my announcement post, to the registration page if you want any more info, and make sure to follow along on Instagram so we can hang out there.